All right, yo, Peyton, I'm about to do a workshop if you want to come. I posted the link on automated prompt engineering
Where at?
in the
And where's
announcements.
the link to it?
Oh, no, announcements.
Shit, where's the workshop for? No.
In the announcements.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
Hello, everybody. What is going on? How are y'all doing? All right, let's go ahead and bring up our amazing speaker today, and we're gonna wait for some people to come on, okay? So I'm pretty excited.
Recording in progress.
It's really a pleasure to be able to have my buddy, Kai. We recently met, I don't know, about a month and change ago. So I'm gonna give it a little bit more time. We'll get Kai to come on here and everything like that. And as we wait and everyone starts to come on, do me a favor, guys, and give us where you're from, where you're at and such. And then Kai, do you have the ability to do your video? Because sometimes I think I may have to make you like a co-host or something like that. Yeah, let me know while we're waiting for everyone, guys, let us know where you're coming in from. Okay, hold on. Let me change. I gotta change Kai.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, brother? You're not allowed to do your video? This happened to our last speaker. I don't know why it's doing that, but let me go ahead and change that up.
Yeah, it didn't work for some reason.
Yeah, no, you'll add it. I'm gonna add you right now. You'll be good. So everybody, when you're coming into the chat, guys, let us know where you're coming in from and everything like that, and we are gonna be ready to roll. So Kai, you should be able to do it now. Check it out. Hey. All right, so we have Sydney, Australia. We have Fort Worth. We have the kid from Kentucky. All right, and we have Kai, my brother. What?
How's
Amazing to see you, man. I'm actually we were supposed to meet up a few days ago, but I ended up coming to Scottsdale.
Oh, wow.
With basically, I came to Scottsdale with Umair, my business partner, to go to do something called Upgrade. So I'm just very excited about this actual webinar. You know what I mean? We've already got along. Like, I'm obsessed with the AI agent stuff. Thank you. I'm obsessed with the AI agent stuff. I know you're ridiculously obsessed and been obsessed, which to me is like, I love that stuff. So it's like me and Kai already getting along so well. And I'm like, man, what can I do to support Swarms? He's already like, oh, how can I support the collective? So we're just like, okay, how can we help each other out to the highest degree? And that's literally what it's about, guys. Like, literally being able to help others without the expectation of return is like one of the best things that you could do. And like the reason people always, for my sake and the collective, why people are always giving us stuff, we just like to give. And Kai is literally doing that same thing. He's doing a bunch of his different, speaking spots, and he's just giving out free knowledge, teaching people about what he's doing. And it's super amazing. I'm super excited to have you here, brother. Very excited.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I really enjoy what you said, because something I've discovered recently is that the entire world economy is based on the exchange of value. Like you provide value to someone, they provide value back, and then that's essentially how the world works, and that's how the economy works. So I really enjoy how you said that.
Dude, because here's the thing, like too often, like people, they want to do things with literally an expectation of return, or they have to gain this one thing, and that causes resistance. When you're just really just giving, that ends up.
In about like 15 days or something. Yeah. Everything we do is open source. Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you for having me. It's fun, and I love the energy around here at the collective. I think it's a lot of the like super technical AI research people do not have this form of energy, so that's very refreshing. Um, so yeah, a little bit about me. I'm Kai Gomez. I grew up in a extremely dysfunctional part of Miami called Hialeah. I grew up on the border of Hialeah and Opelika. Opelika, the year after I was born in 2004, more people died from gun violence than in 2 years of war in Iraq. Um, it's still in a very dysfunctional part of the United States, and around me there was a lot of there was a lot of crime and just bad influences. But thanks to God, I found an outlet. I found something to do um, by programming. Programming was unusually interesting, and I found programming because my mother sent me to a boot camp at a Miami-Dade College or a summer camp, and that was originally like how I started programming. Over the years, I've just been programming for a long time. I built my first neural network when I was around 12. Um, and that was around like 2013 or something. And I was trying to hack people in Call of Duty. And that was originally the spark that ignited my eternal interest in artificial intelligence. I didn't know AI was a thing when I was at this age. Um, what I did know was like I started gaining a conception of automation. Um, And so automation is like essentially I discovered automation. I was too young to understand what a neural network was. Um, but when I discovered this, it was particularly interesting because I just started to ask myself in every life activity, how can I automate this? How can I do this better? How can I like make this faster? How can I not do this at all? Um, and that was originally the beginning. Um, and so yeah, since then, over the years, since 8, 9 years ago, I've built thousands of neural networks. I started my first company when I was 15. I was in high school, and I got kicked out of a couple high schools. Um, but I don't think I am. Well, the first one was a fight. So I got into a fight with a football coach at our school because he was teaching the physical education class, and he took away my phone. So that was just dumb. But yeah, the most successful thing that happened to me during those years was building my first business, which was automating marketing, essentially automating the entire marketing supply chain with AI. Now, we didn't have LLMs at this point in time. We did have more primitive neural networks, and that's what we leveraged. So that was like my first company that did pretty well. But the vast majority of progress happened in the last 3 years. I kind of decided that after my first startup, I decided that we needed to go a much more deeper route of research to do anything meaningful. And that's when I started Agora. And so Agora is an open source research lab that I started to enable people to just do AI research for free. You don't need to go to university. Um, you don't need to go to OpenAI or Anthropic to do AI research. You could just do everything, you know, wherever you are. You don't need any certain credentials. And then that was essentially like the catalyst that formed Swarms. And so now Agora. So Agora is kind of it was where the Greek philosophers used to meet up thousands of years ago. It's just kind of like a big pillar, open space, and people can just discuss or critique each other. And that, yeah. So now my so Swarms was a project originally at Agora. Um, And so basically, Swarms started because we kept seeing the same problems. We kept seeing the same problems with individual LLMs. So this was around the time ChatGPT came out, and we started noticing the problems with these LLMs in production. For example, hallucination is always going to be a problem. LLMs are always going to hallucinate unless there's someone else providing real time feedback or analysis. There's going to be the memory problem. LLMs can only process so much memory. And then there's actually one of the biggest problems I think is that when you use ChatGPT, you can only do one thing at a time. And so Swarms is an attempt to overcome these issues by having multiple agents that can communicate together and work together to essentially get things done, like humans do. Humans can't do everything all at once. We have to communicate with each other. We have to collaborate. And that's essentially what we're building with agents. Yeah, so by the end of this year, we would like to have at least 500 million agents running all at the same time. We're currently at almost 45 million running all at the same time, like 24/7. So to imagine this, imagine like 45 million ChatGPTs running at like the same exact time, processing financial data, healthcare data, insurance data, and then doing things with that data. At least 10 billion. At 10 billion is like if we can do that, that's a strong indicator that people are finding value in using agents and they're actually solving business problems. And that's really the only thing that matters now is are these agents actually solving business problems and providing an ROI to the executives at the organizations that use them. Absolutely. Yep. All right, appreciate it. Yeah, so today we're going to be showcasing how to automate prompt engineering. As you mentioned, there are some problems with this, but basically, by automating prompt engineering, and by that I mean having LLMs that are trained on billions upon billions of prompting tokens, can enable you to, at the minimum, 10x your agent's performance. Um, and so, yeah, I already said a little too much about me. This is about you. If you want to learn more about me, I have a website, kaigomez.com, if you want to check it out. Um, yeah. So, what exactly is prompting? I think to be a good prompter, you have to understand exactly what prompting means. For humans, it's a little bit different than AIs. Even with animals, if you have any animals, I have 11 cats, so prompting them is different than as you would prompt a human. So human prompting is not done not only verbally. Prompting is at its core, in essence, it's like the basic unit of communication. When you're communicating with someone, you're trying to communicate an idea. You're trying to um, instill ideas. You're trying to communicate new ideas, or you're trying to critique existing ideas. And so, prompting is essentially how we communicate with artificial intelligences. It is kind of like the how humans would text each other or talk with each other. But most of human communication is not verbal. It's actually body language. How you communicate. What is your body language? What is your facial expressions? In real person, humans mostly can communicate through their facial expressions more than their actual words, more than the actual words that they're actually saying. It's like the 80-20 rule. I honestly do believe is true. like 80% of communication for humans is body language, and the other 20% is verbal. And yeah, if you have like very open, like just very open body language, then people will come to you. If you're closed, if you're like always like this, closing your arms, then that means you're closed. And so like these things, they're not verbal, but they communicate to your like subconscious mind. And so this is very prevalent. Like prompting is not just something we do with AIs. We do this in every single moment of our lives. When we talk with other humans, when we talk with animals, when we talk to AIs, prompting, we prompt every day of every minute. And so in an AI context, this essentially means prompting are instructions you provide an LLM to do something. It is like a unit of work. So a prompt can be a task. It can be, there's like many forms of prompting. So there's a system prompt. The system prompt tells the AI how to think, why to think this way. And so the system prompt will guide the LLM how to think. And then if we go to like the lowest level, when you're actually going to use AI, when you talk to ChatGPT and you say, do this, build this, create this, build a contract, that is what I would consider a task. And so this task is like, it's like very simple. It's like, do this, do that. It's kind of like an action. But a system prompt is most 9 times out of 10 going to be lengthy, and it's going to teach the agent how to think. And within these instructions, the format is very simple. You say, who are you, or what are your responsibilities? You give instructions, like you are a contract generator agent. Your purpose is to generate contracts on the level of a tier 5 law firm. And then you, from below the instructions, you would have output format. If you wanted it to, just output a summary, output the full contract. If you specify what output type you want, it'll always do good. And you could also do a couple of things, like you can have it output in JSON or other things of that capacity. Yeah, that's a very good. Yeah, so we've actually we've done this by like essentially like creating a form of an agent that generates call to actions. So Alex Ramosi has a really good book called 100 Million Offers, offers or and leads. Yeah. So in one of them, I forgot which one it was. There's a value equation. This value equation is like absolutely magical. And so we had an agent that could create essentially like a call to action using his value equation. And I'll show everyone how to do this pretty soon. But the thing is, having to like write about that would essentially require you like almost an hour, maybe even more than that. It was like, you have to go read the book now. You have to do this. But the thing is, though, the problem with this is, how do you know that the LLM was trained on this data? And so there's a couple of ways to know. If it's in a book and the book is somewhat slightly popular and it's on Amazon, there is a considerable chance that OpenAI trained their models on this book. There's this website called LibGen, and LibGen. LibGen has every book that's ever been published for free. And so OpenAI has taken all that data and then trained their models on that data. So basically it's kind of like there's no way to know. I mean, the only way to really know is to ask it a question. You know, like actually, let's see if that's the case right now. Yeah. Actually, let's see. Okay. So yeah. Okay. It does know the equation. This is the equation. So it does. So the only way to really know if ChatGPT knows something is probably by asking it in some form of a trick question, or just asking it directly. But I'm gonna show you how to build like the custom marketing agent that you just discussed, because I think that'll be particularly valuable. Um, Yeah. And so now I would like to share some of the most used prompting methods. So prompting is not prompting is not static. There are strategies. There are different methods that you can leverage, and I'll be going through them right now. So prompting in prompting it's called zero shot. When you hear shot, this means examples, and so zero shot means no examples. That just means do X. And so I'll show you what that looks like now. Generate an analysis on Alex Hormozi's value equation and how it can help small business owners. And so this right here would be a zero shot. This would essentially be a zero shot prompt, because we're just saying do something. And so few shot, next on the list is a few examples. So if we go to new ChatGPT, we can say, we can take the same prompt that we have, and then we can say, actually, we could do something else. So actually, let's see. So you can say, so this is a little bit longer, but actually let's do it. Let's do math. So this would typically be used in some form of a quantitative. Few shot is mostly used in quantitative use cases. So if you're trying to do any math or something, that would be the most useful use case. So we say, what is 4 times 4? And we say example. 4 times 4 equals 16. And so basically, the probability of it being correct is going to go up because you're providing it an example. And so this is a very simple use case. It's just 4 plus 4. But if you provide an example or multiple examples, the probability of it being correct is going to go up, because the way prompting and LLMs work is that they're predicting the next token. When they're predicting the next token, the tokens they have seen before in the past is extremely important for them to understand the context of the situation and what you ultimately want them to do. And so let's look at some other prompts. So if you go to swarms.ai, this is our marketplace. We essentially have like a marketplace of prompts and other agents. And so I want to show you some prompts right now that would be that would indicate like a good few shot prompt. So this right here, these are prompts. You could you copy and paste these, and then you just you tell it the task basically. Yeah. So okay, in this one, this one is saying, this right here is API reference. This basically this prompt is going to generate documentation. So here we have an example. It's just a simple function in Python. Add numbers, boom, documentation. Example 2, next thing. And then essentially it has like multiple examples. So if we keep digging around here, we'll find some other few shot prompts. And so in our ticker agent system prompt, this is an agent that essentially helps you analyze stock data in real time with LLMs. Here we have the instructions. These are the instructions for the prompt. And then once you go here, this would essentially be like the first example. So example analysis, we have the price, a bunch of other stock data, whatever. And that would essentially constitute a few shot prompt. It's basically just a prompt that provides multiple examples so you can guide the LLM how to think in this given task. And the more specialized the prompting is, the more better it's going to be. And so I highly recommend that you specialize your agents to a degree that would allow them to be reliable in every use. Because if you have a bad prompt, it's simply the probability of it being incorrect or hallucinating is going to approach 90+%. That is like, there is a 90% plus percentage that the LLM that you're using will be incorrect in about 10 minutes of continual use if it is not specialized. That is it'll be wrong at some point. So you don't want that. And yeah, you just, basically just copy and paste them. And then you can use them in OpenAI, or you can, if you know how to code, then you can also use them in your code. You can use them with Anthropic. It doesn't really matter. You can use them with any LLM, however you're interacting with them. So yeah, so I think it's for people who are not experienced with extremely experienced with LLMs, they tend to think that like LLMs are dumb or like they're useless. And I can assure you that's not the case if they are prompted correctly. They kind of just LLMs are just kind of like humans. Like imagine you hire someone, right, and they're new to the job and they're learning. They don't know everything there is to know about the legality of AI in Chicago, or some, like, you have to teach them. You have to show them and provide them examples so they can think. And LLMs are humans are very alike in that same capacity. It's actually it's kind of insane how similar LLMs and humans are in a reasoning context. They both reason pretty much the same. Humans both need examples. Humans need to understand the context of a situation. And we ourselves, we need multi-shot examples. LLMs, like, I don't know anything about Ruby, the programming language Ruby. But if you ask ChatGPT, build a code that does whatever in Ruby, it'll do it. And so humans don't have that capacity. We weren't trained on trillions upon trillions of words on the internet. So, yeah, there's like the more specialized your agent is, the better the performance will be. And so that comes to our next example, which is chain of thought. So you probably heard this somewhere, and I'll showcase what that looks like. So this is typically used in mathematical or quantitative situations. And like I said, you would mostly use this if you were like trying to do some math or like some form of quantitative algorithmic thinking. And I'll show you what that looks like now. It generates an all new prompting mechanism for that's reliable enough for real world usage. And then you can say, think step by step. Be very think step by step and provide your rationale. And so this single line right here is what chain of thought is. You're basically teaching it to think step by step. And the goal is, by doing this and by saying this, we would allow it to think in a more compositional manner. That is, you can be very vague. Like here, I just said whatever. And then I said think step by step. And so now it's not going to attempt to solve a problem it doesn't know how to solve. It's going to attempt to solve a problem by decomposing the problem and then solving the subtask that would be needed to solve that problem. And so here we have step one, define the task, clearly define the task or goal of the prompt. A well-scoped task will help limit ambiguity and give the AI cleaner direction. And instead of saying, summarize this document, specify, summarize this document focusing on the financial impact over the last quarter. Rationale. Many prompting issues stem from unclear task boundaries. By explicitly defining what the AI should focus on, we can prevent and so the step-by-step prompting mechanism builds reliability by defining task boundaries, structuring prompts to minimize ambiguity, adapting through multi-shot examples, leveraging memory for multi-step tasks, and et cetera, et cetera. Or you could also say something more quantitative. So you can say, what is 10 times 1,000 times something random? Think step by step and provide your rationale. Yeah. So, well, the first thing, and the reason why, so the first thing is GPT-01. 01 is the one that thinks step by step, is absurdly expensive. I mean, it's one of the most. It is probably the most expensive model they've ever put out. And you also have, yeah, and you also have to have special rate limits. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't think that you necessarily need to have this model to achieve the same reasoning. I think it is entirely possible to get things done by just through prompting. And honestly, I think that's what they're doing. Like they're just prompting the model saying, you are talking with yourself. You should think step by step, provide your rationale. And that could be a prompt they're using, and it'll probably work. Like it's probably what they're doing right now. But it's very expensive, and it wastes unbelievable amounts of money, and it also might take longer. Like, yeah, the very interesting thing about O1 Preview is like, so we just asked it the same prompt, like what is 10 times whatever. Um, and O1 Preview took more tokens to get this done than GPT, just the regular 4.0. And so, like, yeah, I think it is the same. Yeah, it is the same. But as you can see here, this is just 4.0. This got that done much faster and probably much less expensive than this one. So you have to just understand the strengths and weaknesses and use cases of different models. For example, in Claude, let me see if I could use Claude now. Claude is very good. Claude is very good for generating contracts. That's when I'll typically use Claude. But for the simple things, OpenAI can do pretty well. But Claude can generate really, really long contracts for some reason. I have really good contracts that are consistent. So I use Claude for that type of use case. But yeah, I totally recommend just trying a bunch of models, seeing what works for your tasks. If you're doing a lot of marketing, then try all the big models for marketing. See how that does, and then you need kind of even maybe write down the strengths and weaknesses, output quality of all the models. so you can start understanding how the different models essentially like how do they work, because all models are different, they're all built different, and they all think different because they're trained on different data, and that's something important to keep in mind. Yeah, so like everything, it comes down to a style thing. Like what is the style of GPT-4 versus Claude versus Gemini? Um, like my personal preference is like OpenAI for simple things, OpenAI for code. Even Claude is really good for contracts or even writing any form of long writing, blogs, essays, technical analyses, and documents, any form of like creating documents, templates. That's typically my split. Um, because there's also like to be a good prompter, you have to understand the limitations of the models they're using. For example, OpenAI GPT-4 cannot generate more than 8,000 tokens at a time. And actually, it might be 4,000 still in the platform. In the API, it might be 8,000, but 8,000 tokens is not much. Um, Claude, if you use Claude, it can generate like hundreds of thousands of tokens without it essentially losing context. I remember one time the biggest contract I made was like 60 pages long. And I had to say like I say like make a contract, and then it would essentially like it would build 6 7 pages at one time in one prompt, and then I'd have to say continue generating this contract from where you left off, and then I just did that a bunch of times, and then that worked pretty well. So I've had like entire like sales contracts. I've had entire like legal agreements, hiring agreements generated with Claude. So Claude is very good for things like that. Yeah, so the LLMs are very good for law stuff. So yeah, like generating contracts, I'd say, but like anything more custom that requires real time data, mostly about you specifically, is going to become a problem. Because it doesn't know everything about your history. It doesn't know, like, it doesn't understand the entire case or, whatever. And that actually ties into the next prompting method that was designed to actually solve this contextual problem. And so this is the problem of context. And that is, like, how does what preliminary data are you giving the LLM so that it understands the full history of what you're trying to do? For example, if I'm trying to create a code base with LLMs, and it doesn't understand how, let's say, file A, what's in file A, and I'm trying to make file B that uses file A, it wouldn't understand how to leverage both files, or there would just be no connection between the two at all. And so Reflexion is a prompting mechanism that was designed to help the LLM essentially remember the history of its past interactions with you. And so it would essentially allow you would give it a bunch of preliminary data. Say, I'm Kai Gomez. I'm the lead agent engineer at Swarm. I build prompts. And then you could say, generate a sales contract between Kai and Bill, and then that would essentially be an example of Reflexion. And so Reflexion can be broadly classified as any form of prompting that provides data in the past. So if you give it, data about your marketing, like your marketing success, like how many, if I go to Buffer right now, I use Buffer for a lot of marketing stuff. If I take, go to Analyze here, if I simply just take all this information and all this data, we could essentially that would essentially be like an example of Reflexion. So we take our Swarm's marketing data, and then we say create an analysis of the Swarm's social media. Create an analysis of the Swarm social media results and how things are currently doing.
And by the way, Buffer is what exactly? Well, while you're searching for that, Buffer is like a data aggregation site that you pay a fee for. What is Buffer? I'm sure people are going to wonder that.
So Buffer basically lets you post content on every social media in one place. So instead of having to post on Instagram, actually go to Instagram, you would just post on Buffer, and then Buffer would post that post on Instagram for you. And that way, you can post many things all in one place for all these different platforms.
And do you have Swarms hooked up to this so that it literally goes through Buffer, or do you Swarms is kind of hooked up to all the different actual social media channels themselves?
So that ties into the concept of a tool. And so anytime you want to connect external third-party data that is not part of the LLM, that is essentially what agent engineers call as a tool, because you're integrating external information. And within the tools, the Swarm's GitHub, there are tools that connect to Buffer, and there are tools that connect to individually send out posts on these social medias. And I'm actually in discussion with Buffer to encourage them to make a Python API so that the agents can post on all these social media all at once, extremely easily. But for now, I'm just copying and pasting the data from the platform manually, so you can see how to do this without any preliminary understanding of tool techniques. And so basically, this is what Reflexion will look like. You say, basically, do this, but remember this. This is a bunch of data that you probably need. And so that's Reflexion, kind of simple. And so advanced. Okay, so the next step, or one of the most advanced techniques, is called tree of thoughts. And so basically, let me showcase.
This is where we start getting into the reasons behind what you guys are doing, basically,
Yeah.
or one of the main methodologies, let's say.
So tree of thoughts is a technique where one LLM will essentially talk with itself, and you give it a task. Let's say, am I hungry today? I'm hungry. What do I do? Tree of thoughts is essentially like internal conversation. It's like thinking, within your head. When you're hungry, you probably say, should I go out to eat? Should I make something? Should I not eat at all? And so like you will think, you'll have a thought, and then you will rate that thought with a rating. And that's essentially like what tree of thoughts is. It's one of the most advanced prompting techniques, but it's very good for discussions, like debates. It's very good for debating something. It's very good for coming up with new techniques. Like, for example, the question is, how can we leverage Alex Hormozi's? So this right here is a prompt that I copied in my Tree of Thoughts GitHub. You can copy this. You can copy this prompt by going there. I just copy that, and then I say, the question is, how can I leverage Alex Hormozi's value equation to help my give me a random business idea, or if anybody has a product.
Do what he's doing, what we do, and what a lot of people told me they want to do is start their own community because of how important it is for people to do their own community. So how do you do something about building a community or something in that context?
Okay, build an all-new community around what precisely?
Let's do it around Bitcoiners. Someone wants to start so there's a whole bunch of Bitcoiners that want to get together.
I bet. Let's see. So basically what this prompt is going to do is essentially talk with itself to find an answer to your question. And so this, like here, we're going to see multiple internal experts, and these are not different LLMs. It's just talking with itself, but it's segmenting its personality into many different people. Like Michael, it's even coming up with names for them: Michael, David, Sarah. And then like it's gonna try and solve the problem that you gave it by being extremely it's extremely expansive. So if we see here, like the question is, how can we use Alex Hormozi's value equation to help build an all-new community around Bitcoin? So Sarah says, to apply this to a Bitcoin community, let's start by identifying the dream outcome. For Bitcoin enthusiasts, this could be financial freedom, wealth building through decentralized finance, or even the larger vision of a future economy driven by decentralized assets. The dream outcome for the community could center on enabling members to profitably engage with Bitcoin while participating in a movement that reshapes the financial landscape. The key is
this is legit, like really good. By the way, that's legitimately like it actually has Bitcoin concepts within it. Yeah, that's sick. That's sick.
So the key is then increasing the perceived likelihood of achievement. If members believe they can attain this outcome, whether through education, networking, or even investments, they'll see more value in joining. We can do this by showcasing real-world success stories, offering data-backed investment strategies, and partnering with experienced Bitcoin investors who can mentor newcomers. If members perceive they're more likely to achieve these outcomes, they'll flock to the community. And then the final thing about the equation is that you have to provide an outcome, and you have to make it seem like someone is actually going to, find this outcome. And then it's also about communicating the time delay or sacrifice. So it says we have to minimize the delay and sacrifice. The quicker and easier we can make this experience for members, by providing well-organized resources, the more value they'll perceive. And so it continues talking with itself for quite a considerable amount of time.
Yeah. That's one of the dope prompts. Yeah, it's obviously it's pretty advanced. And by the way, Kai, like all these prompts, do you have somewhere that we're going to be able to share these with people and everything?
Yeah.
Like-
I'm sharing them. I'm sharing all the conversations and everything in the chat as I go along.
Perfect. Yeah, even better too. Even better for sure.
So I'll probably just like before this ends, I'll copy the entire chat and then like summarize all the different conversations and things.
Yeah. That way, guys, you could just copy these because I know like for some people this could be a little overwhelming once we start getting into the more advanced stuff for like the more rookies and the people that are getting into the beginning of this. But it's like really is just like copy and paste. Like once you start getting the architecture, guys, it just becomes easier. You know the architecture, copy the prompts, see the results, like you'll be able to just solve bigger and bigger problems as time goes. So don't feel overwhelmed or anything like that because, all it takes is like learning the basis of this stuff. Me, myself, like it was just like math back in the days. Like I wasn't the best at math in high school. And then I became like a data nerd when I started doing e-commerce. And theoretically, I was like a mathematician figuring out how to do all these things. And at first I did not like math, like it just wasn't something I liked. And then I ended up loving it, which Kai, obviously you ended up loving all this stuff to a high degree, right?
Yeah. But it is so it's not difficult. It just takes experience. Like it's like going to the gym, I didn't go to the gym I started going to the gym a couple years ago, then I stopped. And then trying to get back into it is so hard. It's actually harder than it was when I first started. And so it's kind of like the same mentality when it comes to prompting, or actually anything really. You just have to do this every day. And especially it turns out that if you use AI every day, you'll save unbelievable amounts of time. So
insane amounts of time. Like, here's the thing, like I'm looking at the people, like I just look at people in my life now, like those that are kind of like yielding these technologies to a high degree, and then those versus not. And then there's some people that are just using it for like, just chat GPT, hey, change the language on this. And then those that are really yielding it. And the amount of time and effort, or they have to go and delegate and pay other people for things that literally they could do like probably in like 1 minute, like the time that it takes them to go tell this person and wait a day to get it back, they could do it. Like it just is mind boggling. And the only thing is like, it's only going to get crazier, and then only until the time comes where they're forced to use these different tools, where it'll just be so simple. It'll be in every app, that's another year, 2, 3 years from now. So it's like we have an unfair advantage now. And then the more that we learn and understand these things, we're going to be saving a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And so, but understanding these prompting methods, understanding how they work, why they work, and when you should use them will enable you to get a lot more value from the LLMs that you're using right now. Because a lot of people do not place importance on prompting, and then they get frustrated when they don't see any results. And so it's like going to the gym. You go to the gym one time, you're not going to be you're not going to be looking like an Olympian. You have to show up every day. And so that leads us to our next prompting mechanism, which is internal monologue. And so this prompting mechanism is basically O1 Preview. So this is essentially like what O1 Preview is doing. Like if we try and ask it the same exact question, and we go to O1 Preview, you will see the thinking step by step within its own head. And so internal monologue is a scientific phrase for thinking. I am looking at my computer. I am giving a workshop on prompts. I am watching a workshop on prompts. That's essentially like the thought is I'm thinking, I'm mapping, I'm ramping. It's essentially like thinking within its head. And it's very easy to replicate this effect by saying you're going to be given a task. and you need to think step by step within your own head to ensure that the action that I take, like the final output, is correct. And so it's actually very possible to replicate O1 Preview by teaching the LLM how to think to itself before it gives you an answer. And that's essentially what O1 Preview is doing. And so that's one of them. And then React is also kind of similar to that. React basically means plan, observe, and act. And so I'll showcase now what that looks like. So this is typically used for vision. I would actually use this for vision. So let's see. Let's see if we have any photos here. So this is a banner about prompting. Let's see. Yeah, production grade prompt engineering. So then we say what. So this will be observation. What do you see? Plan. Create a plan based off the image, and then act will be execute this plan now. And so basically, a React is trying to simulate how humans think, how essentially like the external facing way humans think. Because we first observe something, we understand what we're observing, and then we'll have a plan. We'll either have a pre-existing plan or we'll update the plan, and then we'll take an action. We'll actually do something with this newfound information. For example, if we're out in Africa and we're trying to hunt some animal, we have to first observe the animal, and then we could see, what do we do now? Do we go this way? Do we go that way? Do we attack? Is it too dangerous? And that's essentially what we're doing with LLMs. And so this is one simple way, like observation. The image contains a black background with a red hexagonal geometric pattern. The text on the image says production grade prompt engineering, a comprehensive analysis of strategies, methodologies, and applications. On the bottom, it says Swarm.ai. Then the plan says the image appears to be a title slide or a cover page for a document presentation or a workshop focused on production grade prompt engineering. The main objective seems to be an in-depth exploration of prompt engineering strategies, blah, 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 blah.
And Kai, would you say what use cases is there of this? Because like what I'm thinking with this now is like, let's say, for example, one of the GPTs I made was like Hormozi's book and Brunson's book, right? So because I wanted to have specific funnel creation material. So could you potentially put an entire book in there and then use that as a potential plan? And like, does there need to be more context? Like give us like a real world example of how that would be used. To use that strategy, if you could.
Yeah, so one that immediately comes to mind is like any form of stock trading. So anything that requires LLMs to be visual, I would use this prompt in. So this is my little trading dashboard here. If you trade stocks or trade anything, we can basically like take a picture of this. Let's see. Let's find some stock. Let's say NVIDIA, because NVIDIA is very popular these days. If we can find a chart. So yeah, okay, let's take a picture. Say we're gonna take a picture. Now we're gonna edit this. Just gonna cut out all this other stuff. And we're just gonna take that, and now we're gonna. So I would consider using React whenever you require some form of image-based reasoning. So I'm gonna.
And then the words can change too when you're doing like the actual React format, the 3 ones, they don't have to make a plan for this. It could be a different output. or does it have to be in that format?
I mean, it could change, but the it's not this specific format. It's something that mimics this or something similar. So here we're going to say, you know, observation, what do you see? Plan, create a plan based off the image, and then act is going to create a summary. So here it says valuation multiples. This line graph shows serious valuation multiples such as profit earnings ratio, blah, blah, blah. And analyst estimates. A bar chart shows quarterly estimates for NVIDIA's financial metrics. It shows stable growth projections for these metrics with slight variations from quarter to quarter. And then that's here. And so summary. And so essentially we have observation. It understands what it's observing. Plan, analyze the trends, evaluate the analyst estimates to predict future performance, investigate the stock price and target analysis to compare the stock's market performance, blah, blah, blah. And then we have the summary here, which is the action. You know, what do we do now with this information? Another really good case that we're using for React, warehouse security. So, or any type of like logistical operations. So imagine you have a camera, and it's nighttime. It's like 2 a.m. You know, nobody's supposed to be at the factory, but the LLM detects someone. Boom. Observation, person detected. A plan. It could be call the police or call the owner of the factory. And then that's essentially another use case. But anything involving a strong visual reasoning, I would recommend using React.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's pretty much an analysis of the prompting mechanisms. And I like looking at these methodologies as like Lego blocks. They're not like they're not like immovable objects. You kind of just have to understand like what they do, and then build them together for a prompt. And I'll start showing you how to do that. Essentially, to do really good prompting that like solves, you know, actual business problems in production, you're gonna have to mix and match them to find the best possible prompt for a task. So, if I say here, let's create a system prompt for an agent whose purpose it is to analyze legal contracts to protect the Swarms Corporation. Find the best possible prompting mechanisms and mix and match them to build this prompt. Think step by step. And so here, through automated prompt engineering, you don't even need to know the prompting mechanisms. You just need to basically say, find the best prompting mechanisms and mix and match them to build this prompt step by step. And so step-by-step approach, the agent must understand its specific purpose, which is to safeguard the Swarm Corporation by analyzing legal contracts. This will ensure that the agent's focus is on risk mitigation and legal soundness. And then instruction plus multi-shot prompting. One of the best ways to teach an agent is to provide clear instructions followed by multiple examples. This enables the agent to grasp the nuances of various contracts and situations. And so we have chain of thought, we have role-based prompting, we have adaptive prompting, and essentially.
And Kai, these are going to be ones that are like protocol from OpenAI, basically. These are kind of like OpenAI protocol ones, would you say, or where do you think like these are coming from and such?
Like how good are they? Or
like no, as in like, because it's talking about the different prompt styles. So it's like, is that like, this is probably like the best case that you could bring up for what these are going to be? Because, you know, ChatGPT is obviously like giving you these. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the prompt, because they're using the prompt style that okay, so here's a better question. Do different LLMs have different prompt styles, or does the prompting almost work pretty identical through the different LLMs? So if I'm using Claude versus ChatGPT versus Gemini versus whatever, Pi, you know, is it going to be different? Are they the same? What have you seen? This is actually a question I've been waiting to ask a few people. You know, have you seen a big difference between using prompts in different LLMs? Like, is there a significant difference, or is it almost all the same?
Well, first, there is a difference. The degree to what different, like how big is the difference, is you essentially have to discover that for yourself, depending on what model it is. So Anthropic, there was a rumor that Anthropic stole OpenAI's leaked conversations with users, and they trained Claude on this data. So, so if you hear something like that, you can make the assumption that Claude is basically similar to OpenAI, and that you should basically just like the same. So the same prompting styles will work. If you say Claude, do this, it'll do it. If you say OpenAI, do this, it'll do it. And so most of the prompting mechanisms are the same.
Got it.
Like they'll work. The degree to how much they will work is completely different. Like I don't think if we try that tree of thoughts prompt, I don't think Anthropic will create the table like it did, because it created a table. Let's see.
Yeah, and then the question that I don't know, is Guillemine, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, for the prompting. Like one of the best ways to train, I'll let Kai answer too. We have some very simple prompts that we have like inside of the collection in our academies, and then simultaneously our 7-day AI challenge, which is on School. I don't know if you're in that group or not. We have some simple prompting stuff. And then I think Kai is going to be sharing with us a bunch of those so that you could start playing around with them, and that'll give you an idea. You know, and then Kai, if you have any thoughts on that, Guillemine is asking about like, you know, how do they train with it? They need to understand a little bit more, you know, basic structure. I think it's like basics.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Claude is different. It only makes one.
You sound a little far now, by the way. I don't know if it's if you're
can you hear me?
It sounds a little bit far, yeah.
Yeah, so Claude looks Claude doesn't seem to generate the table that OpenAI did. If you see here, like it makes a table. It doesn't like Claude doesn't do that. But yeah. So you like I said, you have to. There is a distinction between the different models and how you prompt them, and you just have to try and see like essentially what works. And that's why like reliable prompting, like prompting used in production, is very, very obscenely difficult. And there's a couple of reasons why prompting is hard. Well, first, it takes an hour minimum to manually craft a good prompt that teaches it the instructions, that teaches it like the examples, like all that stuff takes an unbelievable amount of time. And an hour is at the minimum. That's
not even like fully going into it hard as can be and researching and such.
Yeah, and it would also require you that you have knowledge on whatever it is that you're trying to do. Like you need knowledge, years of experience in your field. Like if you're an accountant and you're trying to build an agent for accounting, you would have to know about accounting. The other day I was trying to build an agent for dermatology. Skin doctor stuff. I don't know anything about dermatology. So how am I going to do that when I don't know anything about, you know, all the subfields? How does the skin work? I don't know any of that stuff.
Exactly.
Then you also need dozens of iterations to improve the prompt. Prompting is not just a a one-off activity. I mean, if you can build one prompt and it works magically good, then that's amazing. You got lucky. um, and you also need knowledge of the data that the LLM was trained on. You also need knowledge on the limits of the LLM that you're using. You need to know the temperature. You need to know the like how creative it is. You need to know the number of output tokens. And then it also just requires a lot of experience of just back and forth conversations.
Yeah.
And so that's a extremely high, like, big barrier to entry. And then especially the problem, like, and this is only for one agent. Like all these problems I just mentioned, that's only for one LLM. Now imagine having to create multiple prompts for multiple agents that are all specialized for something. The time and energy cost, it just explodes. If you try to make more than one LLM, it starts accumulating so fast. It's like, imagine a star blowing up. It's just like pulsating and then just at some point it's going to explode.
And that's why, because it's like, is it because they're looping, like basically like how Agent GPT? Because like when Agent GPT came in, that to me was the first level of reasoning, even though it sucked when it first came out. It was so horrible. But like that was my first time. I'm like, oh man, they can loop, they can ask questions to each other. It's reasoning, but it's like it was just crashing 90% of the time, right? So like, would you say that it's kind of like having a reasoning agent that is basically going and asking too many questions, that it's just like it gets almost confused because there's too much? Or like, why is that happening?
The process of creating multiple agents is extremely difficult, because like all the problems that I just mentioned, you have to multiply these problems by whatever amount of agents that you're trying to build. Like the other day, I was trying to build 50 agents to be a part of an accounting team. Basically, like an agent specialized for every type of accounting and basically to critique like bank statements. If you wanted to do this by yourself, it would take at the minimum 50 hours, an hour for each agent. That's even if you could build a good prompt in 1 hour, which is most often not the case. And so like time, like if you keep trying to build more agents, the time is going to consume you. So so what's the solution here? The solution is basically automating prompt engineering. And that means having LLMs create the prompts for you on your behalf so that you don't have to do them. Because if you had to do them, it would waste a lot of time, like a lot of time. So I'll get into it now. Basically, essentially the benefits of this are you can build a prompt in 5-10 seconds. You basically just say what it is that you want. I want an agent to analyze. I want an agent to help me create recipes for pizza. Boom. It would create the prompt in 5 seconds, and you don't have to be an expert in pizza design. If you wanted to create if you wanted to create your own dietitian, you don't have to become you don't have to have 50 years in dietitian experience to build an agent that is world class in giving you dietitian and dieting advice. So you also don't need any experience in whatever it is that you're trying to build. You don't need to manually build the prompts, and you don't even need to know the knowledge of the LLM's training history. And so you can also tell the model that is building your prompt to essentially give structured settings. So you can say, I'm trying to create like a writer that writes blogs for our product. That agent would have to be more creative than the other agents. If you wanted to have an agent that is writing or generating some form of code, it would have to be not creative at all. It would have to be very logical. And so the temperature is what defines this creativity setting. The higher it is, the more creative. The lower it is, the less creative.
Yeah, and then Kai, now you can, I don't know how it works in Swarms, but now with the new Canvas and the new update from OpenAI, you can literally put up the warmth, right? And the creativity and such as a toggle. Have you seen that one yet that they just came out with?
Yeah, and that basically, well, it's a simple user interface. It's a good, they made a good change to the user interface. But technically speaking, what they're doing to make the model more creative is basically making the temperature go up. And so that when you use it, you're basically just setting the temperature. So other models like Claude and Gemini, you can customize the temperature, but most people don't even know what that is. You don't.
An easy, I'll tell you like an easy way that people may have seen it before. Like if anyone's ever used like Lexica or some of the different different AIs, like it's like if you put it to 0, basically it gets creative as hell. And if you put 10, then it basically gets to like, it's so defined to exactly what you want. It's very similar into the just prompting itself. Like, how creative do you want it to be? Do you want it to be exact? Do you want it to like kind of go off on its own and come up with its own ideas? And you'll see those in that way. So that's what Kai is referring to here.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get into it. I'll show you. There's already a couple of tools that have released to make automated prompt engineering. OpenAI actually has one as well. So I made a list called Awesome Automated Prompt Engineering. And so basically this list is going to have all the tools that essentially show you how to automate your prompt engineering. So if you go to the first one here in the OpenAI playground, there is a tool that you can use to generate prompts. And so here it's hidden away actually. But if you say here, generate a world-class workout advisor agent to help me lose weight. So here I'm saying generate a world-class advisor agent to help me lose weight. And then it's going to build the prompt for you. So you don't even need to you just need to say what it is you're looking for. And then that
and the temperature, usually what happens, okay, so if you put the temperature up on this, what happens versus if you put the temperature down? Like what is the difference? Like 0 to 2, what happens?
So temperature is basically it's a setting or configuration that allows a model to find new and interesting ways of combining words. In other words, it basically controls the randomness of the words that are associated with whatever it is that you're asking for. So if I go here and I say, and the temperature is almost close to 2, it'll just be super creative. It might not even make any sense. But if you make it 0.1, 0.2, it'll be very logical. And so I don't, maybe it's working out. I don't know if it's working out, but basically the temperature, like in this case, you want a world-class diet, like a diet advisor or workout advisor. This has already been done. So, I mean, you can be more or less creative. And so basically the temperature is basically a metric of creativity.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of people say is the benefit, guys. If you've ever heard this before, the hallucinating, people are like, oh, great, it hallucinates. Hallucination is actually what created the creativity of ChatGPT, which is something that they thought was not going to happen. So like a lot of people basically are saying that like they actually wanted to, when they wanted to hallucinate more, or sometimes, let's say if you're going to put the temperature up, and then in the art ones is basically putting it, closer to 0 and such. I don't know if it's opposing to like what this one is with the image creators and such. but the creativity goes up substantially. So it just starts getting extremely creative. And then obviously if you don't want it and you want to get something just to the point, like, hey, I just want you to do exactly what I'm saying, then obviously that's where you put, I guess the temperature in here down versus on the art creators, you put it up. And I don't know if they're the same, by the way, Kai, because like on the other ones, like it's usually the higher the high, and the toggle is the number. I don't know if it's temperature they call it, but basically the higher it is, basically the more it's going to be direct, and then the lower usually it's going to be like exactly super creative, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's different here. Yeah.
So I would only use the creativity if you're writing something. Or if you're a marketer, then I would advise maybe some decently high creativity. But for the most part, I suggest just be creative. I mean, not be creative, be like analytical.
More direct. Be more direct.
Yeah. So we're gonna make another one now. We're gonna say generate a system prompt. The system prompt is what guides the agents. It's basically like it's like a SOP or like a standard operating procedure for a human. So generate a system prompt for an agent who creates really, really high performance tweets about LLM prompting. And so it's going to now create the instructions for this. And so it said, focus on creating engaging and concise tweets to capture the essence of LLM prompting, include tips or facts that make the content compelling and shareable. Steps, understand the key aspects of LLM prompting, including trends, best practices, blah, 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 a bunch of steps. And then examples. So input, insight on creating effective prompts, one more accurate LLM predictions, simplify your prompts, clear prompts lead to better responses. We have 3 examples and notes. Avoid jargon, stay updated on LLM developments, incorporate visual elements like emojis to enhance readability.
And Kai, would this go perfectly? Because there's obviously specific instructions, guys. This part is very important. Every single one of you guys should be doing this. At the very least, is creating your own GPTs for a variety of different functions. Obviously, Kai's going to talk about swarms a little bit more advanced, but he's going in the right direction. These prompts and instructions, can these be used for the actual GPTs themselves?
Yeah, 100%.
So that you guys know, it's like, guys, you can create, like me on our company. I've created over 100 different like AI assistants, right? And one of the ones that is so important, every time we have a campaign, okay, or we have, let's say one of our masterminds, we have, our 7-day AI challenge. I actually create it for that campaign. So every single one of you guys, I honestly don't know how people do it. Like, we actually just got one of our accounts deactivated, and me and Umair were like, we're trying to get in there because we had so much information in one of our GPTs, and it was going to be a bunch of extra work that we had to put in order to create some stuff that we wanted to create. I was like, I literally felt, I'm like, oh my God, like I can't do this. And I didn't realize how much I actually depended on these GPTs that we create in the image of that, let's say campaign, that mastermind, that thing that you're about to create, that new business that you're about to create. So theoretically, some of the prompting could be done in the instructions through what Kai is teaching us right here, right now. And I also give you guys a different type of explanation, but this is a great way to be able to make these different prompts for you guys. So Kai, in that context, if you could add any context on like how that could be done for people that want to create, a different AI agent for, something that they're doing in the GPTs or something like that. Like, I don't know if you have any ideas of one that I could create for a marketing event that I'm going to do, or a product that I'm going to sell or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing that one, something similar right now. So I said, generate a marketing agent that generates social media posts for LLM agents. Or here, you could just take this out and you could say for X product, the leverage is Alex Hormozi's value equation and make people sign up. And then you can give it a format, whether or not you want. I'll post this prompt in the chat so anybody can get access to that. but then here we have the prompt. So basically gives steps. So develop an engaging title that captures the essence of social media posts, highlights the unique value propositions of the LLM agent. And so this one right here would essentially be used to market agents themselves. So I could take this. Once you have this, you go to ChatGPT. You open up the Explore GPTs, and then you go here, and then you say you just copy and paste the instruction and say agent specialized agent promoter, and then you have DALL-E make the image. And then you'd also say descriptions generates high performing social media posts for to promote agents. Then you can say conversation starter. You say generate an ad, generate a post to promote the crypto agent. It fetches real-time crypto data.
Yeah.
And summarizes it. And so that's a start right there. Let's see if it's built. Anyone with the link? Actually, I should have put it there. Once I have this link, I'll also share this in the chat so you can try it. Put that
Yeah,
there.
and see how simple that was, guys, to create an AI agent inside of ChatGPT's GPTs. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you guys got to start getting used to, because you're going to start being able to automate a lot of things in your business. Like, because a lot of people are using Make, a lot of people are using Zapier, though. Obviously, I'm a proponent too, and I know we can't get into this now, Kai. This is something that I want to chat with you about it later. But basically, is using a bunch of different actions within the GPTs through Make, or the other one was Zapier, right? So like that's where it starts to get crazy, because I don't even know how many connections they have now, and you can literally create action points based on this, right? Like I think one of the ones that I have is I think is CoinMarketCap. So I basically am getting real-time data from CoinMarketCap into the GPT. Right. So like that's one that you could be doing on this GPT right here, Kai, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's equipping the agents with tools is essentially what separates an LLM from an agent. Basically, the distinction is, well, an agent still uses an LLM, but it has external tools that the LLM can take actions on, or there's external data coming in from the tool into the LLM. And so an agent is not just an AI or LLM. There's external things coming in as well. And that's the fundamental distinction between an agent. And so, so this prompt generator tool here in OpenAI's platform is really good. It's kind of hidden. You just have to have to know.
Can you give us the link also so that people can have it? And I think do you have to sign up for Playground, Kai? Like, is that separate, or is that attached to your ChatGPT account?
No, that's just your ChatGPT account.
Yeah. So guys, like the link will be there too. I'll be adding some of these links in different places, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So here, basically, you go here, system instructions, you go generate, and then you basically describe what you're using the model for, and etc. So I'll try another one now just to show you. This one will be for, we did marketing, we did finance, we do accounting. So it generates a system prompt for an agent to analyze your bank statements and provide recommendations on where to cut costs, where to get cheaper alternatives, and etc. So this agent right here could probably help you save thousands of dollars. Maybe for your business, if you run an organization, this can help you save money, or even for your own daily life. It doesn't necessarily need to be for a company. And so here we have the prompt. So it says your purpose. We just add your purpose.
Yeah, this is like a personal endeavor that you could just save money, that it can help you basically be the one that can help you save money and is your own agent, not even some software that you have to download and such.
Yeah, so here we have the steps. So you say steps, data extraction, extract relevant data from the bank statements, such as transaction descriptions, amounts, category, frequency, categorize transactions into fixed expenses, variable expenses, discretionary spending. Like, I don't even know what the hell that is. I don't know what the hell any of that means, but I'm not an accountant. I'm just a prompt engineer. And so, yeah, I mean, with this prompt alone, you could probably save a lot of money. Let me see if I could save this. Accountant, bank statement agents.
Yeah. And Kai, we have about 20 minutes left. So can you go into Swarms? And is there anything on the automated prompting that everyone should know, or something very important before we move to Swarms? Because I want to leave a little space for questions at the end. And what would be like anything like extremely important from the prompt side that everyone must know, or like that you believe is very extremely important for people to know?
Yeah, the first thing is, well, first, I think LLMs are better at prompting LLMs than humans are. It's faster, more efficient. Yeah, I say 9 times out of 10, you should be using an AI to help you prompt. And the 1 time out of 10, you should be using the AI to help you prompt if you need to do something that the LLM has never learned about. So if you're trying to do something about like quantum physics, or like something the LLM has never seen ever, you would have to make the prompt. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly, I think automated prompt engineering is the only future for mass scale LLM adoption, because well, all the problems that we mentioned earlier are a pretty big barrier to entry.
Yeah, most people have just no idea. So it's like they got to start learning how to use the AI to make their prompts, and that's going to help solidify them to make this process a lot easier.
Yeah, and so there's a couple of other tools that I would recommend. Anthropic has one as well, like to generate prompts, but it's paid.
Man.
Yeah, you have to buy credits or something. It's just dumb.
Wonder why they do that. Like, interesting. Are they that good too, right? When they're free so many other places. Interesting.
Yeah, so that's kind of a problem. So Anthropic does have one. If you use Anthropic, if you pay for Anthropic, you can get access to that. And then there's another one that I know of, and it's at Cohere. Right now at Swarms, we have a partnership. We actually just signed a partnership with Cohere. And for those who don't know, Cohere, basically, Cohere is another foundation model provider, but they mostly make foundation models for enterprise use cases. So yeah, this is one of their tools, and so basically, it's like this is a much more production grade like prompt optimization tool. But yeah, so this one's also there, and those are kind of like the main automated prompt engineering tools.
There's also that website, Kai. What's the name of the prompt one? The one with all the really good prompts that helps you find out all the like real good ones. What is the name of that website? You remember? Promptlibrary.ai, prompt template. You know what I'm talking about? There's like one prompt place that you're the one that actually talked about it.
Oh.
It was like a domain that you used, and you said the best prompt people are there.
Oh, promptingguide.ai. I think that.
Promptingguide.ai. Okay, that's another one that's another one there.
Yeah, so this one's really good. This is probably like the best prompting website like thing that I've seen so far. Because it basically like it teaches you like everything from scratch. And it also has like it also has like some more technical stuff in here. Like active prompt program aided language models, React, Reflexin. It has optimizing prompts. It has like a guide here. There's function calling, prompt hub. Yeah.
Yeah. Really good place, guys, that you could grab some of your prompts and stuff like that from here also. So really good one. All right, cool. All right, so let's get into some swarms. I want people to see what you're actually doing, brother. Show the architecture, why you called swarms. Like, give them a debut of like what it is that you're doing, how they could potentially use it. Because that would be amazing for everyone to be able to like figure out, how it works and what is swarms, right? Like this amazing business that you're working on right now.
Thank you. Yeah. So, automated prompt engineering solves one of the biggest problems of multi-agent collaboration. So, multi-agent collaboration is not having just one LLM that you're talking to; it's having multiple LLMs. And so when you use ChatGPT, you're not using multiple LLMs, you're using just one at a time. And that's good and all. It might be good for, a decent amount of problems. But when you want to do many things at a time, let's say if you wanted to analyze 50 different bank statements, doing that with one LLM is simply not effective. And there's a couple of reasons why. The first one is hallucination. LLMs are always going to hallucinate, even if there's only one of them. So hallucination is a problem. The second one is memory. So all LLMs have a memory system, and there's a capacity to their memory. If you go over this limit, they'll forget. So that's another big problem. Another massive problem is that, like I said, ChatGPT, when you use ChatGPT, it can only do one thing at a time. It cannot do 50 things at once. It cannot do 100 things at once. It can only do one thing at a time because it's generating the next token. And so this is nice and all, but for most enterprise, like production grade, like use cases in the real world, you're going to have to use multiple LLMs to help you do multiple things at a single time. And that's essentially what Swarms allows you to do. So the name came from a biological swarms from, so in swarm theory, there's a whole theory about this. It's basically the theory of communication between multiple animals. So anytime you have more than two animals, excuse me, anytime you have more than two animals or even three animals, that is considered a swarm. And the reason for that is because it has to communicate. They all have to communicate with each other. And so basically, we at Swarms, our website is swarms.ai if you're interested. We're the first people in history that attempted to get LLMs to talk with each other and to do things as a team instead of you just using one of them at a time. And that's kind of the whole thesis of the framework. And so here we have an example of a hierarchical swarm. And so hierarchical is one of the most popular because the boss agent, or here in the root agent, it goes by many names: boss agent, roost agent, director agent, whatever agent signifies the hierarchy. This agent can plan for the entire swarm. So if you say, I want to create posts for every social media, I want to create a post promoting my food delivery app. telling one LLM to do this would be a waste of time. Instead, what you could do is you could tell the boss. The boss would then go ahead and create multiple agents for that use case, and then run those agents. And so you would only be using, like you would be interacting with the boss, but then the boss could work with his sub worker agents and actually get that done. And so the hierarchical swarm is one of the most popular. Basically, every company in the world right now is a hierarchical swarm. Hierarchical swarms are all over the place in human society. Companies, governments, I mean, even communist countries where everyone is supposed to be equal, there are still presidents and supreme leaders. And yeah, so hierarchy is the most popular one that we have. There's other swarm architectures, we call them. There we have parallel. And so basically, the parallel one is you send one task to many agents. And so these agents could be for different social media. So you could specialize them for Twitter, for LinkedIn, for whatever, every social media. And then you say, create a post about this. And so next thing what'll happen is all those agents will create a post related to the post that you want them to create. And so now you don't have one agent that is going to generate a unbelievable amount of posts, and it's simply not going to be good. And so these are a couple of swarms. We have hierarchical, parallel, and then we have sequential. Sequential is a very simple one. It basically just means the first agent is going to do something, and then the next agent is going to go, and then the third agent is going to work on the second agent's work, and then the fourth agent is going to work on the third agent's work. And so that's basically like, I give my work to you, you give your work to someone else, and the line keeps going. And so there's a couple of other ones, but these are the most important. And so now most of our framework is in Python. So if you know Python, you can use swarms. I'll send the GitHub in the chat. And we're starting to develop now a no-code UI, because a lot of people have been asking for it. But yeah, so
which is the future, by the way. I'd like to put it out there that, like, the future is going to be people with non-technical skills being able to create these agents and create apps and the websites. So like, to me, one of my favorite quotes is by a futurist. Was it Garrett Laporto or another Tim something? And he says, friction is fiction, right? So like, if friction was fiction, where would it be that we're heading when it comes to the creation of anything on the internet, right? So it's going to be us being able to speak to these AI agents to a high degree. And that's why this hierarchical swarm, let's say director, CEO, boss, project manager, whatever the hell you want to call it, like being able to speak to everyone, you'll be able to speak to that AI, and then it'll have either swarms and these groupings of different AIs that help you accomplish these tasks. So no code to me is like the only way forward. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you guys are doing it over there at Swarms, but to me, it's like the future is going to be, and we're talking to this one AI, and then it brings together, whether it's 5 AI agents, 1,000 AI agents to basically accomplish the task that it's necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the thing is, though, programming there's a very big barrier to entry in programming, because anything can go wrong. And so for programmers, you have to be addicted to solving problems, because everything is going to be a problem. Like you will face thousands of problems. It's insane. But when things work, they tend to work pretty well. And so here, basically our Python package, we have a Python package where you can run agents in one line of code. I'm going to demonstrate the no code UI, but I want to show you basically how this works as of now. So to run the agents from the command line, this is where you actually enter in, what file you want to run. we have one file where you can customize the agents. And so in this file, you can say you can basically give it the prompt. So you say, agent name, the model. We're using GPT-4o Mini. And then here we have the system prompt. So this is not an actual prompt. This is just a like a placeholder. Then we can give it loops. So we could say like, I want this to loop 10 times, basically. And the output from itself is going to like feed into the next loop. And so we just have a bunch of other settings here. And then the task is the main entry point. It's like, what are you doing, basically? The system prompt is there so that the task can be done correctly. So this is how normally you would build an agent in just code. In 43 lines of code, you could run a pretty good agent. It's basically just input and output. You're just giving it settings. We have a name, system prompts, the model, the loops, and etc. So the most important things are in these three settings: the name, the prompt, and the model. And that's pretty much it. If you can get those three things down, and also if you have input data, like if you're connecting your database or other data, marketing data to your agent, that's obviously very important. But if I go ahead and just run this single button, we can see what Swarms actually looks like when you execute it. And so there's an error there.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that, guys, it like pulls upon the different type of agents, and there just continues to be more and more and more agents. Anyone that just come on, I know BitDragon just dropped in here. What's up, BitDragon? And a few others that hopped in a little bit late. We were talking about in the very beginning where Kai right now has, in Swarms, has 45 million AI agents. And they plan to go into the billions as part of like, their timelines and what they want to accomplish. And imagine that we're just going to have agents all over the world doing all kinds of crazy tasks that could think for themselves, like imagine, thinking to a certain degree, let's say. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. And so the output of the agent I just ran, I asked it, how can I build a Roth IRA? So for those who don't know what a Roth IRA is, basically a Roth IRA can literally save you from any taxes if you invest in stocks. So if you open up an IRA, there are some, I can't say that word, eligibility things.
Eligibility.
Yeah. So, well, you need to basically be below a certain income. But if you, if once you're like 59 or something, or 50, you can take out all the money that you've put in this account tax-free. So it's one of the best ways that people now are literally making billions of dollars without having to pay any in taxes. And I just built an agent that answered that question in 43 lines of code. But the biggest problem now is, like I said, when you have multiple agents, is creating the prompts for those agents. And so that's why automated prompt engineering is such a big problem, because if you try and build multiple agents, if you're building 50 or even 100 agents, you need to, that's a long time. That's a very long time that you're going to be spending, building prompts. And you shouldn't be doing that. You should just, be actually using the agents and getting value from them and enabling them to automate business operations. And so we ourselves are going to be working on a feature to our command line where you can generate a prompt in one line of code. You just say basically what you want. For free.
To me, that's such a good feature that you should just put it on there, and probably just do it for free to get a bunch of people coming in. I'm not saying to do it for free, but it's a great way as a lead magnet, in my opinion, to be able to like get a bunch of people coming in and just using swarms to like a high degree. Okay, so we don't have a lot of time. So Kai, any other insight that you could give people about swarms itself and how they could potentially use and where you're kind of headed in short, so that people could get an idea and such?
Yes, absolutely. So like I said, I mentioned earlier, we're building in no code UI right now. That means that you don't need to know how to code. And it's a very similar interface to ChatGPT. So within this interface, you can basically run your swarm. So here we have the spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet is basically you're going to run multiple agents at the same time, and then you can get an output of all the responses. So I'm going to say here, generate a post promoting the collective. It's the collective XYZ, right?
The collective XYZ, yeah, there you go.
So I'm just going to copy a bunch of text here, and then so we're going to say generate post promoting the collective to get sign-ups, and then now basically all the agents are going to run at the same time, and so we have the LinkedIn agent. And so we have the LinkedIn, we have the X agents, we have the Instagram agent, and basically we don't need to use like essentially now we're not just using one LLM as we are with ChatGPT. Now we have multiple LLMs. And so this is free now. It's an experiment, so you can sign up now. If you don't know how to code,
sign up, guys. Get into that beta. Get in.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'll be better the more precise you are with the prompting. So if I see here now, generate a post promoting the collective to get signups, don't use emojis or hashtags and sound like Alex Hormozi, it'll probably be better.
Yeah, and all you got to do is really put in the information, guys. You know what I mean? Like the main thing is like if you already have your vision, mission, principles, about us, your website, boom, just put that inside there and then just give it the context for it to be able to create. And they already have one that has all the different platforms for it. Because as you know, it's like, hey, it's letter sensitive. Every platform is letter sensitive. So these already know what each one of the platforms is. And again, guys, this is just one example of a gajillion that are to be coming, right?
Yeah, so here in the design and run swarm, we can design the whole swarm. And basically what this is going to do, it's going to automatically create multiple agents by generating the prompts for you, generating everything, and the name, everything. So you can say, generate a swarm of accounting analysts to analyze bank transactions from Chase. So use Chase. And so now what's basically going to happen is the boss agent is going to create multiple agents. So we have data extraction, we have agent 2, data cleaning, we have agent 3, pattern analysis, we have agent 4, anomaly detection. We have 5 agents right here. And then we're going to say, let's look up bank transaction data, for example. Let's see. Okay, there's a data set. Let's see. All right, that's too big. No, we just need a PDF. Okay, this might work.
Yeah, so you guys like inside, you guys can literally just, inside your bank account, you could download the bank statement, same exact thing. Obviously, Kai is not going to go into his bank.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you, let's see, I want to find one really quick. It could be just like example bank statements, Chase or something. Let's see. Okay, this
pictures. Maybe go there. You go. There you go.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No good.
Go back and go to images. Go to images. Go at the top and go to images. Back in the no, not this part. Into Google. Go back
Okay.
and then go to images at the top.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, the thing is, this doesn't process images as of now. So.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh shoot. Yeah. Well, some of those, if you have like the PDF extractor, I don't know if like you have that.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. No, that's damn. It's hard to
So
find.
tell us what the results are, because like we are over time, and I
Yeah.
want them to be able to contact you. And then if anyone has any guys, if you have any questions, just write them in the chat really quickly. So if there's anything that you want Kai to answer, anything about swarms, anything about AI agents, an example that you want for your own business, ask in the chat really quickly. And then Kai, just give them a little bit of the last synopsis. Like how can they use swarms? Where you guys at? Obviously, you just sent the link. I think I'll post these links too, by the way, guys. That'll be in the Collective's backend academy. We're gonna have it inside there so you guys can see everything. Yeah, and then you'll like, by the way, you'll like BitDragon. BitDragon has a Web3 security company. Now he's doing a lot of stuff in AI. They have their own token, which is like substantial value on it and stuff. Very advanced, let's just say, company that the BitDragon has.
Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah, of course. So, yeah, if you want to try out the no code UI for Swarms, you can go to demo.swarms.world. We have our agent marketplace, which has like a bunch of prompts and stuff at swarms.ai. And we also have a Discord. I sent the Discord that if you want to join. And also my personal website is kaigomez.com if you want to, book a meeting with me or, whatever.
Yeah, conversate. And we're gonna be having more Kai coming in. We're gonna be doing some more stuff together with the Collective and Swarm. So you will see Kai again. I'm super excited about what you're doing, brother. You just dropped mad knowledge, guys. Like this stuff, just so you know, guys, like this type of like knowledge right here, this is what like big companies are paying a lot of money for, just to figure out what is going on with like prompting and everything like that. And this is some like really down, deep, and dirty, because like I've talked to people from some of the biggest companies out there and everything like that. And just Kai has such a good grasp on what's coming, what's happening. And that's what we like to forge forward with. And that's what the Collective is almost like a very futuristic company of these change makers, conscious leaders that want to build in the future. That's literally exactly what Kai is and what he's literally doing out in the marketplace. So he's not just talking about it, guys. He's literally taking massive action with the company. And that's why we're so excited about you coming on board, Kai. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
It was freaking awesome having you, man. Like we're gonna do more of these in person too. We're gonna do some in-person stuff too. I think people are gonna really like it. Which, by the way, we have, for everyone that doesn't know, October 25th, we have both. Which, Kai, I should probably chat with you. Maybe you could actually make you could probably talk a little bit about auto prompting at our actual. We're having in the daytime an AI workshop in Miami. Then we're having a secret networking event, which, Kai, by the way, you're also invited to. Okay.
Thank you.
You're not allowed to have a drink, but you're invited.
Yeah. In 2 days.
Basically,
October 26th is my birthday. I'll be 21.
And basically, it's happening on October 25th in Miami, guys. Those that don't know, like we pushed our bigger mastermind to Q1. Because it's going to be freaking off the chain, and it has a lot to do with agents, so 007 theme, and it has to do with agents and everything that's happening in the agent world, hence even what we're talking about today. So it's going to be super excited. Hit us up, guys, separately. If you guys want to learn more about this event, okay, Collective members, they're all invited. We have Upgrade members, they're invited. And if you want to come to either this daytime event or the nighttime event, hit us up directly soon. We're going to be posting more information. Kai's probably going to be there. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking forward to seeing you, my brother. And the pitch competition too, by the way. So Kai's actually going to be one of the companies in the pitch competition that we're going to be hosting, because they're doing amazing things. They're also raising capital. They're going to be in front of billions of dollars worth of capital power, which is going to be insane. I can't wait to see more of this. we're going to get ready pitch wise for that one. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get ready. So Kai,
Yeah.
any last words of advice or where you think we're going that you could leave everyone before we take off here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think honestly, like the rate at which you learn this technology is extremely important. I would heartily recommend that you learn this tech and you stay learning. It's a continuous learning process. It's not it's not just one thing you learn at one time and then that's it. You just kind of have to like stay devoted and always be learning every single day. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But the thing is though, if you don't go one day, the next day you'll be lazy. You'll be like, nah, I don't want to go. It's like going to the gym. It's literally like going to the gym. But yeah, that's just always
Thank
always
you,
show
brother.
up.
Thank you, brother. From one that's doing amazing things, at your age, it's crazy like how far you've gotten, but that shows like dedication to the craft, brother. So we appreciate you. And thanks
it.
everyone for coming on and joining us. All right. Thank you, brother. You have a great one. Take it
Yeah.
easy, everyone.
You too. Have a good one. Good evening,
Have a good one.
everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Damn. Yo, I'm tired. How was it?
Yeah, no, it was good. I didn't realize, dude, I'm fucking retarded. Internal monologue was what I was missing. Getting like a thought, continuous thoughts. I learned something.
There's a good paper written about that.
I know iteration of thoughts as an internal dialogue agent. It's just so like consciousness could just be a stream of internal dialogue. Like that's the thing, I guess defining that, I've been missing that this whole time.
You can build a prompt that teaches the agent how to reason internally.
Yeah, but the whole internal, like, I guess just defining that, like just saying it's internal monologue would be like a storage system that you could have of a continuation of a internal monologue, and that's more of that self-awareness for that object entity. But yo, I'll be back. I'm gonna go grab some food.
Yeah, shit, dog. Me too, bro.
Yeah, it was a long presentation. That was good.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out, my man.
No problem. All right, yeah, I'll be back later. Peace.
My phone's dead. All right. I'll be back. We need to automate the prompt engineering. Prompt engineering. Damn, bro. That's insane. Hmm. Fuck.